Have you ever noticed how when you try to push something away, it keeps popping up in your life? This phenomenon is like a game of cosmic whack-a-mole. As Carl Jung once said, what you resist persists. Keep worrying about your debt, and you'll find yourself sinking even deeper into it, until one day, it swallows you whole. If you constantly obsess over not being in a relationship, guess what? You'll end up being lonelier than ever. While it's a tough pill to swallow, the truth is that what we resist doesn't just continue to stick around, it gets even stronger. Understanding resistance. To get really good at manifesting what you want, you need to understand the concept of resistance. It's the internal pushback you feel when facing changes or challenges. Resistance is typically rooted in fear, doubt, and other deep-seated emotions. It not only sabotages your desires, but, oddly enough, brings about the very outcomes you say you don't want. For example, you might think you desire financial abundance. The problem is that you subconsciously believe that wealth is evil and secretly dread all of the responsibilities that come with being rich. These internal conflicts create resistance, stopping the flow of abundance dead in its tracks. Fear of change is another way resistance rears its ugly head. You might feel that you're totally on board with getting a new job, moving to a different city, or leaving a relationship that isn't working. But deep down, the idea of altering your routine scares you to death. This subconscious aversion generates lots of resistance, blocking the very changes you think you want. Recognizing resistance. Recognizing resistance whenever it arises is the first step towards dismantling it. Many people avoid acknowledging resistance because they fear it'll dredge up pain. While this may be true, confronting resistance head-on instead of letting it fester in the shadows is the only healthy option. Resistance is a protective barrier that we erect to shield us from uncomfortable emotions, but we can't make them go away by ignoring them. They dissolve on their own once we fully accept them. Handling grief. When people choose to resist their grief instead of feeling the full extent of their pain, they're not actually getting rid of the grief at all. The only thing they're doing is shoving it underground and out of sight. There, removed from the light of conscious awareness, it festers like a cancer. When we don't adequately deal with grief, the blocked energy can create a host of physical and psychological issues. For example, chronic fatigue, unexplained aches and pains, or trouble sleeping. It's only by bringing grief into the light and working through it that it begins to lose its grip. Then, instead of a subconscious undercurrent sabotaging happiness and success, it becomes folded into the fabric of who you are. So, while it's natural to want to sidestep grief, it's crucial to allow ourselves to grieve fully, to let the tears flow, to feel the ache in our hearts, and sit with our sorrow. It's only in moving through it that we find true healing. The second arrow. The second arrow is a Buddhist concept that illustrates how we make suffering worse through resistance. Picture this. You start feeling like crap. A dark cloud settles over you, sucking out all of your joy and motivation. This is the first arrow. The emotional discomfort triggers a barrage of negative thoughts such as, "This is terrible. I can't stand feeling this way. What's wrong with me?" Your internal dialogue makes the distress so much worse, turning what could have been a manageable moment of emotional discomfort into a more prolonged experience. This is the second arrow. But what if you welcome it with open arms instead of fighting the emotional pain? For example, you could tell yourself, "Okay, I'm feeling sad. It's uncomfortable, sure, but it's not unbearable. Can I observe this feeling as it is without judging?" When we're able to do this, a startling transformation occurs. An all-pervading peace envelops the initial discomfort, making it easier to feel our emotions without resisting them. Practical applications and techniques for overcoming resistance. Meditation. Because meditation makes us hyper-aware of our inner landscape, it's an excellent tool for uncovering resistance patterns. It teaches us how to recognize resistance as it arises, observe it with curiosity rather than judgment, and then choose how to respond rather than being swept away by habitual reactions. To use this method, set aside time every day to practice. It doesn't have to be longer than 5 or 10 minutes. Find a quiet space where you can sit comfortably without interruptions. Close your eyes to minimize external distractions. Direct your attention to your breath, observing the natural rhythm of your inhalations and exhalations. If you find yourself mentally wandering off, don't sweat it. It's perfectly normal. As you watch your thoughts float by in the vast expanse of your consciousness, you'll notice that some trigger a subconscious pushback. For example, you might find yourself resisting thoughts or emotions related to specific topics. By observing your resistance without trying to change it, you transform it into acceptance. This means that it won't negatively affect you anymore. Affirmations. Affirmations are one of the best ways to overcome resistance, particularly when it stems from deeply ingrained fears or doubts. For example, let's say you have trouble pursuing success because of an underlying fear of failure. In that case, an affirmation like, "I am capable and deserving of success in everything I do," can help neutralize this self-doubt. Here's a way to make this practice even more powerful. Whenever resistance pops up when doing affirmations, write the form it takes on the back of the paper. Once you're done, you should have a pretty good idea of all of the areas where you're feeling resistance. Counteract these thoughts with positive affirmations and write those instead. EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. EFT is a highly effective method for breaking down the walls of resistance we all put up. It combines cognitive therapy with tapping on specific points on the body, known as meridian points. For example, let's say someone is unhappy in their current job and dreams of starting their own business. Every time they think about taking the leap, they're overwhelmed by fear and doubt. This is a classic case of resistance. In this case, fear of failure and the unknown. To tackle this, the individual decides to try EFT. During their session, they identify the specific fear holding them back, that if they start their own business, they'll fail and lose everything. This fear becomes the focus of the session. The practitioner asks the person to rate their fear on a scale of 1 to 10. They say it's a 9. The practitioner begins the process, asking the individual to focus on feeling their fear while they tap on specific meridian points. As they do this, the person repeats affirmations designed to reframe their fear. For example, "I embrace challenges as opportunities for growth." "I trust my ability to overcome obstacles." "My passion fuels my determination." "I learn from setbacks and emerge stronger with each challenge." "Fear is temporary, but the potential for success is limitless." "My setbacks don't define me." "Action conquers doubt, and I choose to act boldly." These affirmations, combined with tapping, neutralize the negative emotional charge attached to fear. After several rounds, the practitioner asks the individual to reevaluate their fear level. This time, they rate it a 4, a significant reduction in their emotional resistance. By directly addressing the fear and physically tapping on meridian points, the stuck energy begins to dissipate. Because this process helps to diminish the emotional hold fear has on them, the idea of starting their own business now seems less intimidating. Conclusion. That concludes today's video. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you struggled with resistance before? If so, how did you overcome it? Share your experiences and insights in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else to make a pivotal change in their life. If today's video has provided you with spiritual sustenance, we invite you to explore all the content on our channel. At Salam Soul, we offer a treasure trove of insights and wisdom. Our video journeys are designed to awaken something in you, that spark of divine radiance that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're not an isolated fragment drifting through space, but part of a glorious totality.